Test, test. Hey guys, welcome back. Orabomb here, bringing you the very first of our post-rotation content. This is going to be Ultra Prism on, I believe, because Crimson Division is one that rotates. Yeah, Ultra Prism on, including our new set, Unified Minds, which we don't actually, interestingly enough, these sets is going to be kind of questionable if we get all these cards. We do know we're getting some cards omitted. Probably a good amount of cards from Sky Legends is going to be omitted for the Hidden Fates set, I believe. That's coming out after Worlds happens, but we don't know the official list yet. But I'm going off of my educated guess of what cards are going to be in there, and I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to start this content. So to the left, you have not myself like usual. Interestingly enough, we actually have my buddy Steven. He's playing updated Reshiram Charizard. We're playing Green's ReshiZard. And to the right, I just got out of work, which is why you see me wearing my work clothes and stuff. But to the right is myself, Orabomb. Nice to meet you. I'm going to be playing this brand new fossil deck that I'm kind of working on right now that I think is really cool. It is Archeops, Kabutops, Fossil, using the brand new Fossil Stadium with Jirachi, of course, because when that's your only basic, it's pretty much guaranteed to lead every time. So I'm really excited about this. Before we get into the video, first of all, I'm going to talk about things, but yeah, don't forget to hit that like. If you guys want to see more of this content, I'm not going to be uploading it as frequently. I'm actually going to try to follow like goals now. So if you guys want to see deck profiles, like goals, like the next day, maybe the next match next day, things like that, please just drop that like. Answer comment question day being what's the deck you're most excited about for post rotation. But we've got the Fossil Stadium. This deck is very much focused on getting that Fossil Stadium right away. If you guys don't know what that does, it is, I believe it's called Pokemon Research Lab. I'm gonna pull up all these let's see, trying to think, oh, I don't know what the word is. I'm just pulling up all these cards immediately so there's no mistakes being made. But Research Lab, what it does is that it just essentially puts fossils on the map. As you can see, it's a stadium, so the whole deck plays Bills, Jirachis, all about getting that turn one stadium, right? And what it does is once per turn, you may look, you search your deck for the stage 1 of the fossil Pokemon. Essentially, the Pokemon that evolved directly from your Fossil Stadium. Directly from your unidentified fossil, and put them onto your bench, and then your turn ends. So both players can do this, of course. So I can use this time to actually get down my Kabuto and my Archon without having to evolve them from unidentified fossil. With my opponent going second, he has the ability to use Volcanian's attack to attach 3 energies in any way he likes to his Pokemon on his bench. So there's no more Kiawe. This seems to be one of the better ways to get energies on your board turn 1, especially when you're going second. I actually got Archon because I think Archeops is an incredibly strong fossil Pokemon. We all know what Kabutops does. Kabutops has the ability to stop your opponent from playing supporters when it's active. So the whole goal is to like U-turn using Archeops attack. So Archeops is 130 HP, 1 retreat cost, stage 2 fossil Pokemon with a lightning weakness and a fighting resistance, and it has 2 attacks, both for colorless energies. It's a fine type Pokemon too, which is not bad because Pikarom should be pretty good post rotation. But yeah, for its first attack does 40 damage. It's U-turn. You may switch, and then you have to switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. And then its second attack, Hyper Beam, does 80 damage and discards an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. These are both colorless attackers, and because you're a fighting type Pokemon, you get access to cards like the Fighting Stadium whenever you use fighting type energies. And things like Diancie. I'm currently not playing Diancie in this build because I want to make sure I lead Jirachi every single game. But Diancie is definitely an add you can put to this deck if you're looking to increase your damage output a little bit with your Archeops. So the whole point of the deck is to use U-turn to switch directly into your Kabutops and stop your opponent from playing any supporters during that turn, because this format is going to be very supporter heavy. We have a lot less ball search cards in the format. All we have are like treasures and nest balls and stuff like that, and of course cherish balls. So I'm less interested in using item lock and more interested in using supporter lock, which is what this is all about right now. So we also play cards like Aerodactyl, which does do 180 when we're not playing any GXs. We're not playing the new Aerodactyl, the GX Aerodactyl in this deck list, because it's incredibly difficult to get 3 energies on a Pokemon because there's no more double colorless energy anymore. It's just straight fighting and fighting DCE for the Archon, for the Aerodactyl, but because it is post-rotation, we don't have DCE, so now you have to attach 3 energies to get the attack off here. So this thing can hit 180, which is the main reason why I'm using it, which is why I'm playing the triple energies and stuff like that. Triple energies also help because you can attach them to Kabutops and even Archeops in like a desperate time of need if you can't find any fighting energy. That Field Blower is supposed to be the brand new item card that lets you search supporters. Flip 2 coins for each has put a stadium, not supporter. Put a stadium into your hand from your deck. So I believe the card is called Stadium Navigator. That's cool. So I couldn't print the card because at the time of recording they didn't have the card printable on Limitless. By the way, that's where I get all my proxies. Also Limitless, of course. As you can see, we have Fighting Dojo here, which while we're behind increases our damage output by a lovely 40 damage when attached to Fighting Energy. Now the cool thing, Aerodactyl does hit 180 with a Fighting Energy. If you decide to attach one, whenever you have a little bit of free time to attach an energy to it, you can hit 220 thanks to the Fighting Stadium as well, because the Fighting Stadium affects all Pokemon as long as they have a Fighting Energy attached. I'm going to go ahead and take my knockout here, and he's going to knock me out, which is fine. The goal for me right now is just to hit him and put him in range of knockout numbers through the likes of U-turn and Hyper Beam and stuff like that, and even Kabutops attacking when I need to. And whenever he's low on energies, go into a U-turn into Kabutops to stop him from using cards like Welder and stuff like that. Now my green is really powerful post rotation for ReshiZard, because not only is it just like generally a good card since we don't have Kiawe anymore, but it gives you access to cards like our brand new Counter Catcher, which is not brand new, but because Counter Catchers are really only form of gusting outside of Ninetales, which we're not playing in this deck, obviously, because we're playing greens. You can search those with green. We have great new cards like Great Potion, which lets you heal the HP of your Pokemon, of your GX Pokemon by 50, which is really nice for getting yourself out of range a lot of the time. We have Tag Switch. He's choosing to gust up the air to Archeops and take a knockout on it. He didn't want something that could easily put damage on him. And here I'm just very debating what I want to do here. Now I can discard this Unidentified Fossil whenever I feel like it. So making it active is definitely not the worst play ever. I'd rather not have to discard Unidentified Fossils if I can avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable. So our goal right here is to try to find an Archeops so that we can put more damage on the board. There's computer search, but do we have Pokemon? Okay, that's supposed to be Arrow. Yeah, I forgot to mention this. That backwards card is supposed to be a second Aerodactyl, which I currently do not own. I own it in game 2. By the way, all 3 of these games are recorded on different dates, so I do apologize about that. It is what it is, though. There's nothing much I can do about it, because every time I record a game, for some reason things go wrong. I don't really know why. I actually don't understand why this is happening. Oh, Reset Stamp. Hey, it's time to show it off. So Reset Stamp is a one-sided end. My opponent has to shuffle their hand into the deck and draw until they have the amount of prize cards they have left remaining. It's a nice card to throw in here because your opponent's definitely going to take the advantage on you until you get the lock going. There's lots of switches in this deck too, to be able to switch between your Kabutops and Archeops and Drachis and stuff like that. I'm gonna go ahead and use Cynthia here before I do anything else. I'm trying to think of what else I was talking about though. I don't remember what else I was talking about. I was just talking about something. Excuse me. So I'm gonna draw my 6 cards. We did get our Unidentified Fossil and another one too, because we want to try to evolve into Aerodactyls on big turns. We don't want my opponent to heal with Great Potion, but there's not much we can do. And this deck also plays no gusting of its own. So it's all just a matter of like how quickly can we damage this ReshiZard to be in range of a knockout the following turn, whether through Archeops or Aerodactyl. Preferably through Archeops, though we can U-turn, but it's very unlikely. The problem with this deck right here is that even though the whole concept is to use Kabutops, in this first game at least, we're not able to abuse Kabutops as much as I would like, because as long as my opponent got that turn 1 Welder, they actually have a really good advantage, whether it's turn 1 Welder or turn 1 Volcanion. So here I'm just deciding what I want to do, because I could just Hyper Beam and try to put him in range. We would be hitting him for 120, but instead we're going to U-turn and hit him for 80 here. Yeah, hit him for 80 and just go into this thing, stopping him from using greens to find his Great Potion. That's the game plan, because if he can just not use Great Potion, we can take a knockout with Aerodactyl the following turn, because that would be enough. Would that be enough? 80 into 180 is 260, so we'd be 10 short actually. That's problematic, because we don't have a fighting energy on that on the Aerodactyl yet. So he's choosing to, yeah, he's going to go ahead and attach that there instead, which is fine. He does have a Great Potion in hand. Of course, I Reset Stamp him into that, which is not super great, but it's fine. He's going to go ahead and Great Potion now. I don't think he was in any danger of being knocked out the following turn. But I could have like randomly decided to drop a Shrine, which is always like a possibility. I'm not playing Shrine in this deck list, but I was considering playing Shrine after this game for sure, because sometimes that extra chip damage on the board throughout the game could be really, really useful. That's what I've been finding. He's going to go ahead and knock out the Kabutops. He knew he couldn't use any supporters there, so there's not much else he could do. I'm going to evolve it to another Archeops, attach another energy there. I could have attached that energy to Aerodactyl. I'm going to be 100% honest. That was probably the better play because, because it would have been a little bit more useful to keep the to have the damage buff on Aerodactyl just on the ready rather than attaching uselessly. He did top deck to green, and he's going to go ahead and use that now, probably to find more great potions or maybe switch into Tag Switch. Tag Switch is a brand new item card as well, as you can see right here. Let me see if I can find Tag Switch. I don't remember. I think it's in GG's End. Just to get the exact word. Okay, Tag Switch moves 2 energy from one of your tag team Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. You have to move 2 if you have 2 on the board, of course, and it has to be from a tag team Pokemon to another. But this is a great way for you to play like a physical switching card that can switch from one ReshiZard to another, and then tag switch those energies back into the other, back into the new active ReshiZard, which is a great way to just make sure you have constant pressure with that and keeping your Pokemon safe on the bench, because there's a lot less gusting in format as of this Soat rotation. I know we're getting Great Catcher, but that's not for a while as well. So Tag Switch forces the switch, and now he can attach and just use Outrage here for knockout without having to risk all of his energies, which is a great play for my opponent because he still gets the knockout here. He heals and keeps himself, well, he's not really out of range. He's still in range of 180. So if I can find a triple energy here, I still take the knockout. But so actually maybe that Great Potion was not super worth, but it did keep him out of range of another Archeops, I suppose. Yeah, because he just healed 50. So if he's at 100, yeah, oh, he would have been in exact range of Archeops. So he is technically out of range of Archeops. So, but of course he's still in range of Aerodactyl, which I am going to go ahead and take advantage of here. Unfortunately, we don't have any other fossil Pokemon on the board. So it'd be really nice to have a turn to get unidentified fossil down, but we did whiff. So now it's just a matter of he's gonna reset that me down to 2, and can we attack this thing enough to win the game? Unfortunately, it's looking very unlikely because if I damage him too much, he can just outrage, and he hasn't GX attacked either. No, he has GX attacked earlier, never mind. So if he flare strikes this turn, he can't flare strike the other turn, but if we attack him, he can outrage for game. And of course, he can always just play double switch or do some sort of switch manually retreat option kind of cards. So he has options to avoid it. He did take a knockout there. He's down to 1 prize. Well, I have to take 2 more. So it really just comes down to if I can play this maneuver around his outrage as well as like hoping he doesn't have any switching shenanigans. Touching energy there because that's going to become an Aerodactyl most likely. And here I just have to, yeah, I can hit him for outrage here, hit him for 80, or not outrage, hyper beam, hit him for 80, and that could have put him in range, but unfortunately he did find the Great Potion off of that hand, which sucks because with the fighting energy on that fossil, if it were to become Aerodactyl, which is on the Aerodactyl right now, and I have the triple energy on board, which means as long as I found my fighting stadium, I believe I would have won that. Because he just healed 50, which means he was at 80, and 80 plus 180 is 260. But if I had the fighting stadium, the fighting stadium gives you just a natural plus 10 buff to anything with a fighting energy on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and retreat here, and I'm probably I just have to use Supersonic here because I can't take a knockout anyways. So now I'm just banking on him hitting himself, because if he can hit himself, then he's in range of Aerodactyl. So he might choose to not attack at all to avoid that. Of course, he does immediately win the game, but he could also immediately lose. He's choosing the flip, and he gets Tails, so he does damage himself. But because of the Great Potion, he's no longer in range, of course. So we are behind on prizes, so we do get plus 40 damage. So we do hit him for 220, which means now we can win the game if we can just find the last fighting dojo. So it all comes down to that. Unfortunately, I think I know that at this point in the game I don't have anymore. I'm pretty sure that's why I made that play, because I know I can't do anything. I just have to continue to let him hit himself until he's in range. I don't want to damage him, although in hindsight, I definitely should have damaged him. I'm going to go ahead and just use this to thin the deck a little bit. I'm just hoping he can hurt himself again, so I just want him to get 1 more Tails. We'll see. But yeah, I think at this point in the game, I knew there was no more fighting dojo. Either that or I just made a massive misplay. But I played this game like last week, but I'm pretty sure that I just did not have enough fighting dojo and I wanted to play more fighting dojos just in case. Heat Factory there. Energy, and he just gets heads and he wins the game there. Definitely risky plays on my opponent's side, but I think he was just going for all or nothing there just to have fun. Here, new day, new game, new clothes. This is actually I think the next week, maybe like the next 5 days later, which is why we switched sides, by the way. So I do apologize about that. And then the next game will have us switching sides again, and it is another like after work thing. I actually think it's going to be on the same video. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, game 3 is going to be same day as game 1, and game 2 is the one that corrupted. I wanted to make sure we had a good game 2 as well. So we're gonna go ahead and shuffle up, draw up. This deck only plays 2 Jirachis as its only basics and keeps nothing but like a bunch of the fossils and other things like that in the deck. This is to guarantee that you get a Jirachi lead. If you want to decrease the chance of mulligans, you can play more Jirachis, but I'd rather play more ways to guarantee my stadium card, which is why we're not doing that right now. Excuse me. But yeah, Jirachi active, of course. ReshiZard in the active as well. We do get the opening stadium and we get bills. At this point, I'm just trying to find more unidentified fossils to put down on the board, which is exactly what I find, as well as a switch, which could be handy in case I need to switch into an attacker next turn. So the whole combo of the deck is turn 1, get that stadium. I've yet to whiff it, and we played about 6 or 7 games, and I whiffed, and I don't think I whiffed it a single time. Every single time I either got it off my opening hand, a bills, or a Jirachi, which is the whole reason why you play the engine like this. 4 bills, 2 Jirachis, which is a guaranteed lead, as well as, 4 copies of the stadium. We're gonna go ahead and use the stadium here to get out Archin and Kabuto. The general strategy is to just make sure I have a Kabutops and an Archeops down, which is the whole reason why we play this like this. He's gonna go ahead and get an opening green here. Excuse me. And using green, let's see what he grabbed. I don't actually see it because his hands are covering. It looks like a Heat Factory. So that's the crazy thing about green, right? Green gets you a stadium that lets you draw 3 cards. So it's almost like green draws you 3 cards. I think he also, I don't know what else he grabbed, but he did grab, he is getting the power stadium down just to bump our stadium here, which is fine. We do evolve into Archeops immediately. Aerodactyl as well. So we have a couple options here. I could just attack him. I could have attacked him just with Aerodactyl just to get it over with, put that bunch of damage on the board to stop, meaning that like he needs to find a follow play, but this only works if I have 2 Aerodactyls on the board, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and use it once again, just like last video. That blower is supposed to be the stadium searcher, which we are gonna use right now to go ahead and get that fighting dojo. Doesn't really matter. Just want to try to contest the stadium war, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the switch here, and Cynthia as well. So we get to hit this man for damage. Did he preemptively? I guess he preemptively put the damage there, thinking that the turn was going to be over. But I'm definitely going to Hyper Beam him and get rid of this energy for sure. I'm going to try to get down to Kabutops if I can. It looks like I whiffed all Pokemon. But yeah, I'm going to go him. He looks like he top deck Cherish Ball. So he's going to go ahead and play the Cherish Ball immediately and get down another Charizard. We did do 90 damage to him and got rid of his energy. This welder doesn't do much unless he finds a manual attachment as well. And if he finds a manual attachment, he's going to be forced to GX attack me because a Hyper Beam won't do it. Not Hyper Beam, an Outrage won't do enough. But if he whiffs the attack altogether, which he might actually, we'll see. I don't see any energies in his hand. He can double Custom Catcher to stall, or just take a knockout here with Outrage, I guess, which is, yeah, I guess that's what he wants to do. He'll go ahead and knocks out Kabuto to stop him so that I can't stop him from using stadiums. And here I'm just going to do my best to take a knockout. Thanks to the boosted damage from prior, I was able to take a knockout here with the 180, which is marvelous for us. So it looks like the math worked out quite nice. We're going to go ahead and use bills here to try to find more unidentified fossils, because I just want to continuously get those on the board. Looks like all we found is a switch. Not too bad, but not too great, because like even though we managed to take this huge swing turn by taking a knockout here, thanks to the little bit, this is exactly why I got the stadium down to. Just having that 90 is so much stronger than 80 when it comes to hitting them from 180 the following turn. But yeah, huge swing turn here. I did put something back, no worries. I fast forwarded too quickly. Getting a Jirachi down, just to make sure we have multiple Jirachis so that we can always search, because like obviously our board is very dead and we can't use that to search unidentified fossil. But we are going to take a knockout here, just a nice really early swing that's really powerful. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that triple energy in a second, guys. There we go. And if he does take a knockout here, which he would need to GX me, right, in order to take a knockout. There's a little bit of glare on my opponent's side. We are recording at different locations. What was this? What was the store called that we recorded at? We're not recording at Cards and Comics like usual. It's I need to double check the name. Which I don't know where my phone is. It's like, I got it. I'll remember the name mid video. I promise. Oh boy. I'm gonna go ahead and just start spamming Jirachis here. Really, it's looking for some unidentified fossils so I can get this game rolling. Because I don't want to let off any pressure. I want to continuously be attacking, but I really want to make sure we have continuous pressure going. We're gonna go ahead and play another switch, because we are playing lots of switches in this deck, guys, because we want to make sure that we can switch from our Kabutops to another Archeops. And we did find one of the unidentified fossil pieces. So there we go. At least we have something on the board that we can evolve up next turn. And I'm gonna go ahead and use switch again, and I'm just gonna hit this man hard because I feel like the best way. Did I attach the energy? I guess I did. Did I not? I hope I did. Well, anyways, I want to hit this man very hard because I really got to. Looks like I didn't attach the energy, but I mean, we have one in hand now, so never punished, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I had the energy in hand. I think I was just going for it because there was no point in doing any damage otherwise. Otherwise, I would just use the stadium that turn, I think. I think that's what I was going for, right? Like, either I get the damage there or I just use the stadium that turn. But if we don't hit him for a lot of damage, he can just Great Potion up a bunch and then he'll be out of range. But now that we have a second unidentified fossil down, if we need to, the next turn we can just evolve up the unidentified fossil to an Aerodactyl and really search for another triple energy. The cool thing about this deck is because you're playing so many bills and so many what's it called? So many bills and Jirachis in that stadium to search for Pokemon. You actually thin your deck pretty nicely in the early turns for sure. You're gonna go ahead and reset stamp me right now, stop me from being able to try to find another Aerodactyl into triple energy to get a knockout here, because that would be instant game. Another thing that would be game is if I can just hit him with a Fighting Stadium Hyper Beam, so that he's just trying his best to avoid all that stuff from happening. And he did find a Great Potion, which he needed this turn, so very happy he found that because he would have just lost the game immediately. He has the Great Potion, right? Oh, that was his welder. Let's see. Like, he has a Great Potion. He's on a double Great Potion here as well. Heal for that 100 damage, so he's down to 80. 80 is no longer in range of Aerodactyl, which sucks because now I have to just go back to using U-turn and stuff like that. There's the Aerodactyl in hand. I guess we'll evolve it now. It's a little bit risky evolving it now because, ooh, complete whiff off the Jirachi. It's a little bit risky evolving it now just because he could just custom catch her if he wants to. I'm just gonna have to pass here with no damage on the board. But luckily with that fighting energy, if we get the fighting dojo, he's now in range of 190 as opposed to 180. And I'm using the stadium here while he's playing his turn out. You know how me and Steven are very fast players, so we just kind of do everything as quickly as we can. Make sure this video goes out for you guys quite nicely. I'm using the stadium to get Arcgen and Kabuto. Great Potion again, so now he's not in range. And the Fighting Stadium doesn't help us because we're still tied, which means I don't get the massive boost that I would usually get. Another Cynthia here. I can play an unidentified fossil and just play the Cynthia down. Maybe find the skateboard ideally. Use U-turn into Kabutops. Just give him that. Because like right now I'm just trying to pressure this ReshiZard into being knocked out by Aerodactyl or by a boosted Archon. So computer search here to get probably an Archeops, because I really just need to make sure we have as many like attackers down as possible, because Aerodactyl should be the one that closes this out or puts enough damage to keep everything in range. And if he does take a knockout next turn, then I want to be able to find the Fighting Stadium as well. So we're just digging as much as we can. I'm debating this turn if I want to U-turn into Kabutops, but I think what I need to do is to make sure that he's in range of most of the attacks. I have to use Hyper Beam to not only get rid of his energies, but put a lot of damage on him. If I can put the 80 damage, I'll put him at 110, and 110 is in range of Aerodactyl. But if I only did 40 to him, that's at 70, and 70 is not in range of Aerodactyl, even with the Fighting Stadium, because Aerodactyl caps out at 190 right now. Of course, if he takes a knockout, he is capped out at 220, which would be in range. So I think this is the part where we discussed. I'm just gonna use Hyper Beam instead, because it just doesn't make as much sense. I need to make sure that he's in range in case he doesn't take a knockout, because he could just choose not to take a knockout. He's gonna tag switch, move both those energies there, I guess not really sure why. I know there was a reason, I just don't remember why. Yeah, and here it just comes down to can I find the triple? Because if I find the triple, I win the game. Because he had, oh, I see, he had no switching card, so he couldn't switch to another Charizard. He could have just retreated manually as well, though. If he tag switch, he could retreat manually and just hope. But then that would just be one extra turn, right? It's not like it's not buying him too much. It's buying him one extra turn. I don't think that one extra turn would have helped him. He could have tried to find more healing cards, but he can't heal more than like 200 damage, 200 HP a game. He only plays 4 Great Potions, right? So this is just like me putting unrelenting pressure on my opponent to do as much as I can. And that Bills is going to get me Cynthia and something else. And here, what am I doing? I guess I'm just using Hyper Beam. Yeah, I'm just using, no, this time I'm using U-Turn because I don't want him to use green to get himself a potion. I'm trying to avoid him getting potions like at all costs. His potions are bad. I want to keep him in range. And here he just takes a knockout. And now he's at 150. I only have to hit him for 120 to take a knockout. So I'm all in right now on trying to find that fighting stadium. Or not fighting stadium, a triple energy or a fighting stadium. Either or will win me the game. So I have so many outs right now. I have a free retreat option. I have access to Jirachi as well after the Cynthia. And it looks like I found a triple energy off of that. And we're just going to go ahead and get to game 3. 1 for the lock, which is not really a lock as much as it's just you turning a bunch into like precise turns where your opponent can't use supporters, which is pretty handy. But we'll see. We're going on to game 3 here to see if it can really keep up. Game 1 was me playing from the back almost the entire game, and game 2 was me playing as aggressively as possible to make sure he never had time to do much of anything while we kept damaging him, because we're only giving up 1 prize at a time. It never feels like we're like in one of those situations where we can't do anything. And do keep in mind that this is against ReshiZard, probably its worst matchup, I would say. Maybe like you could say non-GX matchups are some of its worst matchups, but most non-GX decks are incredibly inconsistent post-rotation. And this was a relatively consistent deck for sure. You're going to see a bunch of mulligans, by the way, guys. Hope you're ready. Just because like you have access to that stadium, you get the stadium very often. And even if you don't get the stadium, because you're searching your deck like a lot, turn 1 a lot of the time, you're bound to get at least a couple unidentified fossils. Excuse me. So you have a pretty consistent deck as far as your setup goes, right? And you're a fighting type Pokemon, which means decks that don't lose much, such as Pikarom, you do take advantage of because you hit them for weakness. What else is there? I mean, you can Oko Blacephalon decks like with Aerodactyl, so that's really easy to do. I'm trying to think of other really good decks post rotation. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. There's a lot more, and I can potentially make a video of all the decks I think are going to be good post-rotation. I did talk about that video in the discussion series where I was like, maybe I can make a pre-testing video about all the decks that I think are going to do well, just off of like the top of my head. And I could probably still do that because, like I said, I don't want to upload these every single day unless we constantly hit like goals, which I should probably mention. Like goal for this is going to be, let's say 75 likes. How about that? 75 likes and 24 hours. We can do like the deck profiles and stuff like that. I do like uploading the deck profiles right away, so I probably will upload those. But I'm more interested in like the next match. If we can get the 75 likes, we can do the next match as quickly as we can. He did lead EV Snorlax, which is a good thing for me. I personally, I'm going to talk about this more in the live deck profiles, which I've already recorded at the time, so I have a pretty good idea of all that I've talked about there. But in the live deck profile, I talk about EV Snorlax and how I question its viability post rotation with a lot less evolution based decks and format. I feel like EV Snorlax isn't like the most useful card, so I'm not super concerned about playing EV Snorlax in ReshiZard. But this is not my ReshiZard build. This is Steven's ReshiZard build. He still likes it very much, having a non-fire type attacker deal with any cards that might try to target ReshiZard. Of course, remember that backward card is Aerodactyl. And let's see, we did get the stadium once again, turn 1, because that's what this deck does. And this gets me a second Jirachi immediately, so I can be switching between multiple Jirachis throughout the early parts of the game. I don't want to lose Jirachi. I want to make sure we constantly have Jirachi around. A skateboard on that one so we can retreat into the other Jirachi if we need to. I want to try to get some unidentified fossils down. I'm going to go ahead and use this fossil search card just to thin my deck a little bit more, putting these cards in my hand. I'm not going to use it this turn, obviously, because it's my first turn. But let's see. Use this Jirachi here. And let's see what we can find. We did find a switch. Not going to play it, of course, just going to use a manual retreat right now. No point in playing that switch card. And let's see if this Jirachi can find me some unidentified fossils. That'd be ideal. As long as I can get down one, that can be a potential Aerodactyl. So let's see if we can find one. Looks like we did. Sick. All right, cool. So we got that. So now we can safely get down Archon and Kabuto just to get like the setup started, using our stadium card here, which does immediately end our turn. So there we go. Let's go. He's gonna. Oh, that skateboard is a proxy for a switch, by the way, guys. Keep that in mind. I don't know why he couldn't find a switch card, but it's fine. Skateboard is a proxy for a switch. Do not worry. I think maybe I missed that in one of the previous games, but in case I did, there you go. We do get a Cynthia here. And we do get Kabutops as well. So the Kabutops is down. Jirachi's in the active. No manual attachments yet. We do want to put on some pressure, so we definitely want to attack. But it looks like this hand actually has no energies in it, which is, you know, it happens, I guess. Oh, so here you're going to see a misplay. This is going to be day one where we're playing this game, so keep that in mind when I say this. Oh, actually, no. I didn't misplay. Never mind. Cool. I think we're good then. I don't think I played. Okay, cool. We're good. Never mind. So because I can't attack this turn, I'm just going to retreat into the unidentified fossil card because I don't want Jirachi to be knocked out. I might not because I want to evolve that just in case. Yeah, I'm just going to retreat into unidentified fossil. I'm going to use a stadium here. Stadium will give me some more stage 1 Pokemon, and one of those can be an Aerodactyl immediately. So choosing not to get the Aerodactyl though, actually surprised by that play. Probably should have grabbed the Aerodactyl. See, this is where like day 2 and game 2 that you guys saw, which was like the second day we were playing this, not really the next day, but the second day we were playing this matchup, I definitely had a better understanding of how I wanted to approach this game, which is why I got Aerodactyl very often. I didn't get Aerodactyl very often in this for sure, but definitely should have, because Aerodactyl is super duper aggressive, and you need a hard hitter in this deck whenever you play against a deck that plays Great Potion like that. Gonna go ahead and Computer Com here to get an Archeops just to start putting some pressure on the board. We can get Fighting Dojo here and hit him for 120, which would be pretty nice. I would prefer, yeah, because yeah, I would like to hit him for 120, I think, because, I mean, that's a lot of damage. that's that good damage. I'm gonna go ahead and build here. So, like, some questions I'm gonna go ahead and answer right now, because this is gonna come to my head and now people are gonna ask this. Why am I not playing Diancie? Why am I not playing Ditto? Why am I not playing any other basic besides Jirachi? Well, it's simply because I want to lead Jirachi, because I feel like if you don't get the fossil turn 1, this deck is very, very shaky, if not bad, probably bad. So, excuse me. Turn 1 fossil is super duper important, which is why I'm choosing not to play any other Pokemon that I could lead with, even if they are pretty useful. Like, Ditto can evolve into any of these Pokemon, but like, Ditto technically has less HP than a unidentified fossil, and also a weakness, unlike the unidentified fossil. So, you know, unidentified fossil in this deck is much better than Ditto, unfortunately, unless we have any other tech evolutions. So we hit him for 120, which is good, because that does put him in range of Aerodactyl. It does not put him in range of another Archeops, unfortunately, but hopefully he doesn't heal, but it looks like he did draw a Great Potion off of that. Oh, he has 2 now. Yeah, it looks like he drew a Great Potion off of the Heat Factory, and he had one in his hand already. If he had one in his hand already, hitting him 70, it doesn't really matter. Either, excuse me, 1 Great Potion was all he needed to put himself out of range. He definitely did not need to play 2, because he still would have been out of range. But once again, it's not like he knows the ins and out of my decks. He doesn't know if I might have a surprise attacker or like a choice band that rotated. A secret cheating choice band. You never know, right? Gonna go ahead and grab, I guess that's a Bills. I can't really tell what it is from the glare. What's my goal here? I'm not too sure. I would like to attack this turn, put some damage on the board for sure. Looks like I might just go into Kabutops to stop any greens, but I don't really see a purpose in doing that. He has to GX me, I believe. Because he already used Flare Strike last turn, and Outrage won't take a knockout. I could force a GX attack right now, which wouldn't be bad. He can Pokegi here, but of course he can't use this support as he finds. He does find green though, so maybe he has double Custom Catcher in hand, and he's just gonna use green this turn. And then I don't know what he's gonna do with that, but it's a possibility, right? He's gonna Heat Factory here to draw 3 more cards. He's gonna use Cherish Ball, get another ReshiZard. He might tag switch onto it just to make sure that he has energy spread out throughout the game. He could also just tag switch from that EV Snorlax. He doesn't really need it. But he's choosing not to tag switch. I get the energy attachment off this turn, which is good. I can switch into Jirachi here just to use Stellar Wish. And debating, there is that. So I can get down a Archeops for sure. I can also get down an Aerodactyl if I need to, and that's what I'm going to do instead. Maybe I don't have any more Archeops. I doubt that though. Archon does like 20, I think it's like flip 2 coins to do 20 for each heads. I believe that's what the attack does. So it's not like Archeops is going to pull off a big threatening thing here. And I guess I just attached twice this turn. Okay, so I cheated. Ignore the cheating, guys. Ugh, I hate when this happens. I guess I didn't realize that I made that misplay. But that aside, don't worry about it. I can guarantee you it doesn't affect the game. Because I remember this game now, and I can guarantee you it does not affect the game. So it's okay. I think I definitely broke a rule, though. Surprised he didn't pick it up, because usually the reason why me and Steven play together so well is because, one, because as you can see, I just left work. I'm probably very tired and just slipped my mind. But two, me and Steven are really good at picking each other's misplays whenever things like that happens. And I'm gonna go ahead and just hit him for 180 here. No big deal there. You know, there was no reason for me to it's not like I shuffle drew, right? So attaching that energy was like preemptive, if anything. It's all fine though. Doesn't matter. Once again, it doesn't affect the game, so don't worry about it, guys. He's going to go ahead and get Switch and another Counter Catcher. So it looks like he's going to Counter Catcher up that Archeops, I'm assuming, because he really thinks Archeops is a huge threat. He's going to just switch and tag switch here. And then just, switch and tag switch. That's why I just moved the damage counters, make it easier. And then, there it is. He's going to knock out the Archeops, which is why I told you it doesn't really affect the game. Of course, I shouldn't have done it regardless, but it doesn't affect the outcome of the game. No worries. In fact, all I did was lose an energy there. But yeah, because I have no gusting, I don't really have a way to damage that Charizard. My Kabutops attacks only does 20 damage to bench Pokemon, so because he's at 200 damage, it would take me, 4 turns of attacking with Kabutops consistently to take a knockout. That sounds a little bit ridiculous, so I don't think that's happening this turn. Use the Stadium to get down another Arch, and I just passed my turn. Now, luckily, this isn't a huge deal because I can slowly chip away at his Pokemon until I win the game. But because he has those Volcanions that can still 2-hit KO all my Pokemon, it does look pretty problematic to be able to win this game still. He's going to go ahead and retreat into the Charizard again, choosing to give me the Charizard, I guess. Not very surprised by that play. He's on a Welder. Maybe he just has a Switch in hand. I'm not too sure. And then he's going to go ahead and take an Outrage knockout. Very strange turn, for sure. Not really sure why he did that. I guess just to get a knockout for sure that turn, since he wasn't able to Outrage and he wanted to put as much pressure on my board as possible. Because at this point, he's down to 2 prizes and I have all 6. So even if I do take a knockout here, he's still going to be ahead in the game. And it would take me at least two attacks to finish off a Charizard. So the math still works out quite nicely for my opponent. Unfortunately, we were forced to attach a triple energy here to take a knockout because we couldn't find any basics or Archeops. So As much as I like the Bills engine, the problem with it is that it doesn't draw me cards, which means it doesn't draw me energies. And I could play energy searching cards like Energy Spinner or even Viridian Force, but Viridian Force is out of the question because you have two very important stadiums you're playing in this deck already, which means you're means you're relying on Energy Spinner. But I'd rather just play a shuffle draw because you play enough energies to draw into energies when you need to anyways. But if that becomes an issue, we could always just squeeze in a couple Energy Spinners, because why not, right? Item-based energy search is pretty good if you're playing Bills. We did take a knockout, which means we finally took our first 3 prizes of the game. But he's going to take a knockout here, and here's what I'm talking about, right? Like, I have no way to OHKO him, and if I damage him, then Outrage will take a knockout, right? And that's problematic, and will lose me the game. So I have to damage him enough to where Outrage won't knock him out. Just going to play double switch there just to get them out of my deck. Switch into whatever, and then switch right back into Jirachi. Then I'm going to Cynthia here. The most I can do right now is to use Hyper Beam for 80, and that puts me, because I'm on 130 HP, his outrage won't be able to knock me out. And actually, I would have to do it for 90, right? Which means I would have to find Fighting Stadium, hit him for 90, and then find Aerodactyl triple energy the following turn to hit him for 180 for knockout. That's my only way to win this game, and that is completely reliant on my opponent not having double custom catcher, and him not being able to just switch again into the ReshiZard to take a knockout, and him not like having more tag switch energy attachment, tag switch welder shenanigans into a EV Snorlax as well. So there's a lot on the line here, but like in order for me to win this game, I have to find the Fighting Stadium, but it looks like I whiffed it. So Hyper Beam is here, and I have to hope he has no manual attachment now, which of course he does, but custom catcher, but not the double, and there was a great potion anyways, so it's not like it really came into play, like me not finding the Fighting Stadium, because he still would have been able to heal and put himself out of range regardless. So as you can tell here, the game's probably over. He can always, I think he's just gonna outrage me, so I actually do have an extra turn, kind of. Like now I'm forced to U-turn, right? So I have to find Fighting Stadium into U-turn, and I have to U-turn into, well, no matter what, he just takes a knockout next turn. So what I'm gonna have to do here instead is I'm gonna have to hit him with another Supersonic from Aerodactyl to confuse him and hope he hits himself. Because if he hits himself, he puts damage on himself, and he's in range of Fighting Stadium Aerodactyl. So like this is like me hoping he decides to hit himself off confusion, by choosing to make the confusion risk, because that's all I can do here. Unfortunately, this is fine. We don't need the Fighting Stadium this turn. We need it next turn. But I am gonna use Supersonic here, and like I think he needs the Great Potion. Like he can make the flip if he wants, which he looks like he's going to. Which there you go. I'm telling you, flip it on screen. He gets the heads anyways, but definitely like a pretty big misplay on my opponent's part, because if he got tails, he puts 70 damage on him, and I hit him for 220, so he would have been in range. But anyways, game 3 is a loss here. That was a fun series though. Definitely was a fun first experience playing that fossil deck, and I definitely want to explore more options with it. I think the fossil deck is really, really cool. You can play other cards like Caracosta, but once again, the same issue arises when you play Caracosta, and that is that it is fighting and then multi-colorless attachments. Now, that can be alleviated by playing cards like that Fighting Belt with triple energy, and then you can just try to get a big OHKO and ReshiZard. So that might be something worth exploring, because it looks like ReshiZard is a lot harder of a matchup than I would hope. I was hoping that with the Kabutops, stopping your opponent from playing greens and welders would have been more than enough. But it looks like that Kabutops strategy is going to be really good for the likes of like Guardian, and maybe even like maybe U-turning from Guardian, from Archeops into Kabutops, and hoping they can't get a knockout, or maybe even versus like Bucephalon stuff, so they can't use welders and stuff. We'll have to see. I'm definitely gonna explore that deck more. Maybe just like the lock isn't at all what you want, and maybe all you want is just different Pokemon that can do different amounts of damage. So maybe like Caracostas, maybe like you want to focus more on on Aerodactyl, you turning around into different Pokemon. I mean, there's a lot of different options that deck has, which is really exciting. So definitely excited to explore that. And ReshiZard, of course, I'm actually very happy because me and him built that deck together, and I talked about this more in the live deck profile. So definitely drop a like if you guys want to see that immediately. But we built that deck together. I'm very happy with how it turned out. There are definitely some things here and there I want to change, but I like the new cards that I put in there. I like some of the tech choices. I think the greens version is really strong. And yeah, I'm really excited to showcase all these decks to you guys. This is the first of our many post-rotation videos. And like always, whenever we do these post-rotation videos, our sponsors at Guardian Gaming give us a chance to give you guys a booster box. So if you want a chance to win a booster box, whenever I think it's Unified Minds. Yeah, Unified Minds comes out. We're gonna take comments from all of our post-rotation videos, pile them up together, and pick a random winner. Of course, it is 1 entry per video, but if you leave a comment and a like, that is an instant entry into the booster box giveaway that will happen as soon as the set gets released. I'm really excited about it because I get to open up a booster box myself, and we can both share in booster box love, and I'm excited about that. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Let me know what decks you want to see post-rotation. I have a couple decks recorded already, but of course I don't have like enough decks to fill up a month and a half worth of content, right? So definitely let me know what matchups you want to see, what decks you want to see, all of them post-rotation, of course, so keep that in mind. I'm not going to build decks that are bad. I don't build bad decks until they reach PTCGO. That's whenever the bad decks come. So be on the lookout for that. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.